He left her in a sea of heartbreak and debt. Yet he never anticipated the quiet revenge from their 11-year-old son. One click turned everything upside down. And a week later, the man who had walked out returned, crawling back in tears. Tune into today's story and tell us which country you are listening from. Rachel Carter stood by the kitchen doorway, her arms tightly crossed over her chest, observing her husband Mark struggle with the zipper of his duffel bag. She had sensed this moment approaching for weeks, but nothing could prepare her for the sting of hearing him mutter, "I am leaving," while avoiding her gaze. Rachel's silence spoke volumes. She noticed his trembling hands, how he couldn't maintain his composure. She had memorized every detail of this man, his laugh lines, his scars, the way he held a coffee cup. Yet now, standing before her, he felt like a stranger. "Who is she?" she finally asked. "Jessica," he whispered. From the office, Jessica Lane, the young, overly self-assured woman Rachel had always felt uneasy about. She swallowed hard, steadying her voice. "And what about our son? Mark? Have you even considered Ethan? What will this do to him? What about the house? The mortgage payments due next week, the credit card debt, the groceries, and the utility bills piling on the counter." "I'll send money," Mark replied weakly, his voice barely rising above a whisper, as though voicing it aloud would somehow make it valid. He wouldn't meet her gaze, his fingers gripping the strap of his bag as if it were a lifeline. Rachel let out a bitter laugh that echoed off the kitchen walls. "Money? Really? Mark? You think throwing a few dollars our way will make everything all right? You think that can replace the father Ethan is about to lose?" Her voice shook, not from fear, but from the fury simmering within. She inhaled deeply, held it, then exhaled like a dam breaking. "Just go," she said finally, her tone cold and definitive, as if each word was a door slamming shut in his face. With no further words exchanged, Mark left, and Rachel crumbled into tears. Later that evening, Rachel found herself beside her 11-year-old son Ethan, struggling to find the right words. "Your dad, he's not coming home," she said gently. Ethan stared at her, confusion etched on his face. "Why not? Where is he?" "He left to be with someone else." The boy's expression twisted with pain, a storm of emotions flickering in his wide eyes. For a moment, Rachel feared he might break down, but he didn't cry. Without another word, he turned and stormed down the hallway, the thud of his steps echoing the weight of his heartbreak. Rachel stayed at the table, frozen. The silence that followed was heavier than any argument could have been. That night, with no comforting words to offer and no one to lean on, Rachel sobbed alone, curled up on the couch, the burden of abandonment and worry pressing down on her chest like a heavy weight. Life became more challenging. Rachel took on back-to-back night shifts at the hospital, while bills mounted up and groceries dwindled. Ethan began to retreat. He stopped laughing, stopped talking. It felt as if she was losing him. One morning, Rachel returned home to find a note on the table. "Oh, Mom, I love you. I'll find a way to help." Her heart cracked again. Rachel's only solace came from her neighbor, Helen Walker, a retired nurse who always brought a warm pie and a warmer heart. "You're stronger than you realize," Helen reassured her. "And after every dark storm, the sun shines through. You just have to hold on." Rachel clung to those words. A week later, while stirring soup, Ethan said, "Oh, Mom, I got back at Dad." She froze. "What do you mean?" "I found stuff on his computer, documents and folders with odd names. There were spreadsheets with numbers, dates, graphs, charts that looked incredibly complicated. I didn't understand much, but something felt off, like he was hiding something serious, maybe even illegal. So I took screenshots and forwarded them. I sent them to his boss first, then found other email addresses in his inbox, some coworkers, maybe clients, and sent to them too. Rachel dropped the spoon with a loud clatter, the metal echoing against the walls. Her heart raced so painfully that she thought she might be ill. "Ethan, do you understand what you've done?" Rachel asked, her voice tense with worry, her eyes wide with fear and disbelief. "This could have serious consequences, not just for your dad, but for you, for us." Ethan fidgeted uncomfortably in his seat, his fingers nervously toying with the hem of his shirt. "Oh, I just wanted him to feel bad," he murmured, looking away. "I wanted him to see what he did to you. I figured maybe if he realized how much he hurt us, he'd come back. Maybe he'd apologize. Maybe he'd fix things. I didn't want to worsen anything. I just didn't know what else to do." Rachel hugged him tightly. "Revenge isn't the answer, but I understand you did it because you love me." Days later, Mark called, his voice raw and thick with desperation. It was a tone Rachel had never before heard from him. "Everything's fallen apart," he croaked, pausing as if trying to swallow the weight of his words. "I lost my job. They said it was due to the emails, the files. I'm being investigated now. Jessica left. She didn't even say goodbye. She just packed and disappeared." He sounded hollow and empty. "Now I have nothing. No job. No money. My reputation is ruined. Everyone at the office is talking about me. I don't even know how I'll pay next month's rent." He let out a broken sigh. "Please help me. I don't know what else to do." Rachel closed her eyes, taking a long, shaky breath. "You made your choice. Mark, you left us, me, Ethan, everything we built. For what? A fantasy? Now it's all crumbled. And you expect me to be the one to clean it up." Though her voice was calm, it held the weight of every sleepless night, every tear shed, every shift she had worked to keep them afloat. "No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to walk back and now that everything is in ruins, and ask me to extinguish the flames you started. You made your choice. Now you have to live with it. Don't call me again." She hung up, her hand lingering on the phone for just a moment longer. A deep, hollow silence followed, but for the first time in months, she felt liberated. Rachel focused on rebuilding her life, taking it one small step at a time. With Helen's constant encouragement and emotional support, she mustered the courage to step out of her comfort zone. She began by offering in-home care services to elderly neighbors and former hospital patients. Grateful patients shared her information with friends and family. And soon Rachel was juggling multiple appointments alongside her hospital shifts. One evening, she confided in Helen, "I want to open my own clinic, but I have no money. With your healing hands, money will follow." Helen assured her. Rachel rented a small space, painted it herself, and her colleagues donated equipment. Helen provided plants to make the place livelier. Rachel hung a sign that read, "Carter Family Medical Care," and patients came, returning for treatment. Rachel offered more than just medical help. She provided comfort, understanding, strength. No longer was she the abandoned wife. She had transformed into a healer and provider. She sent Ethan to summer camp using money she earned herself. Mark appeared once, thin and disheveled, looking paler than she remembered. His clothes hung off him, wrinkled and stained, and his eyes, once brimming with confidence, were now clouded with defeat. He looked older, as though the weight of his mistakes had aged him overnight. "But Jessica never loved me," he whispered, his voice barely audible, like he had repeated this too often to himself. "She said she craved adventure and excitement, but the minute things got tough, she was gone." He let out a bitter laugh that faded into a sigh. "And my job, it was all I had left, the only thing keeping me afloat. I invested everything into it. Long hours, loyalty, and now I'm nothing. Just a name people whisper about. A cautionary tale in an office I used to belong to. Rachel listened, but inside, she felt numb. You broke us. Mark, you destroyed everything we built. Our trust, our family, our future. Do you even comprehend the magnitude of your actions? You didn't just leave a house. You left a life, a son, and a woman who believed in you. And now, after all the damage, you think you can waltz back into the wreckage and expect forgiveness? There's no turning back. That bridge is burned long ago, and I've already commenced building a new one without you. One day, while walking in the park, Rachel spotted Mark sitting alone on a bench. She quickly looked away as Ethan, now brighter and stronger, smiled up at her. She smiled back, and they held hands, continuing their walk toward the future, toward the happiness they had fought to earn. What are your thoughts on today's family story? It happens more often than we think. Do you believe Rachel should have allowed Mark back into their lives after everything that transpired? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And thank you for joining us and listening to Storyline Narratives.